Nearly as buzzy in the headline lexicography as Twinkie defense is the PMS defense. It first appeared in England in 1980, when a woman ran over her ex with her car and only lost her license for a year. And the following day, another woman was placed on probation for carrying a knife and threatening to kill a policeman, even though she was already on probation for stabbing a woman to death. The most notorious case in the U.S. that put the PMS defense on the map, as it were, came in 1982, when Shirley Santos tried to have felony child abuse charge dismissed. Like half of our cough syrup cases, she reversed position and pled guilty. Elizabeth Holtzman, the Brooklyn district attorney, said, "The withdrawal of this defense is a signal that PMS is a defense without merit." That didn't stop Jamie Lynn Irving from trying it in 1983 after she stabbed her roommate, or Margaret Pitt in 1985 when she intentionally, repeatedly crashed into another car. Emphasis on trying. In Pitt's case, she was actually convicted by an all-female jury. The PMS defense didn't go out with hair metal and day-glow neon mesh belly shirts for guys. A woman in my home state of Virginia, that only seems to generate good news at a rate of 3 stories out of 100, convinced a judge she was not guilty of drunken driving after arguing that it was premenstrual syndrome, not drunkenness, that had caused her erratic behavior. The state trooper that pulled over Geraldine Richter reported a strong smell of alcohol, and when he asked her how much she'd had to drink, she told him it was none of his damn business. After failing the field sobriety test, Dr. Richter, did I mention that, kicked the trooper in the groin and had to be restrained. At the police station, she kicked the breathalyzer table hard enough to warrant being put in leg restraints too. 20 minutes later, she blew a .13 blood alcohol level. Dr. Richter's defense team claimed that her violent reaction stemmed from the trooper threatening to arrest her and take her 3 children who were in the car. Still, expert testimony on how severe PMS can be, and how it can even affect alcohol absorption — Richter claimed to have had 4 glasses of wine over 6 hours that day — was enough to sway the judge. Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Grace Burke called the PMS defense ridiculous. "It's a typical case of drunk driving. This defense hurts the credibility of women. I can't tell you how ridiculous I think this defense is. She used PMS to explain away her outlandish conduct toward the officer at the scene. The men of the world, I'm sure, are just shaking their heads at this one." I can't say I disagree with her. While severe hormone changes can affect a person, see also postpartum depression and psychosis, you can't help but feel that the next step from the PMS defense is being called an irrational, hysterical woman. Interestingly, the PMS defense has also been used in India, a nation whose people have a rather prickly issue with misogyny, where 2/3 of women have been the victim of domestic violence. On a totally justifiable tangent, when you can, Google Abused Goddesses. It's a photo series portraying Hindu goddesses as victims of abuse for the Save Our Sisters campaign. Back to the case. A 21-year-old woman was accused of pushing 3 children into a well, one of whom could not be rescued. The trial court convicted her of murder and attempted murder under Indian penal law. The case was then appealed before the Rajasthan High Court, where the lawyer for the accused argued that at the time of the incident, she was suffering from premenstrual stress syndrome, the way they phrase what we call PMS. This, it was argued, led to her becoming aggressive during certain periods of the month. Under Section 84 of Indian penal law, no action taken by a person who is of unsound mind and incapable of knowing what he or she is doing can be considered a crime. Her lawyer also brought up past incidents of violent behavior and madness to demonstrate that she was the victim of moments of mental unsoundness, laboring under a defect of reason triggered by premenstrual stress syndrome. A 2-judge panel overturned her guilty verdict.